All right, we've made it to the finish line of our deep dive into radio frequency interference. For 9 parts, we've been sorting through this invisible traffic jam that's happening all around us in the airwaves. But now we're going to talk solutions, we'll look at what's being done, and maybe even more importantly, what you can do. So yeah, this is it, the final piece of our 10-part tutorial, Invisible Interference, how radio frequency interference affects your everyday life. It's really the culmination of a whole public awareness campaign from RFI detectives, and it's all built on the incredible research from Bob Slavic over at Virtualization Options LLC. The whole point has been to bring this invisible issue right out into the open. And this last part, well, this one's a little different. Think of it as a toolkit we've built just for you, all you journalists, reporters, and broadcasters who are out there telling the stories that matter. We're going to give you what you need to take this really complex topic and make it real for your audience, whether it's just a simple annoyance or, a serious public safety problem. Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start by setting the stakes, why this is a massive infrastructure issue. Then we'll look at the official response from the top down. After that, we've got practical tips you can share with people. And then we're going to talk about your role in all this, because it's huge. We'll wrap it all up with the big picture, protecting the airwaves we all share. First things first, let's really hammer this home. We are not just talking about some niche technical problem for engineers to solve in a lab. This is a public safety issue. It's an infrastructure issue, and it affects literally every single one of us.
And framing it like this, well, it's a total game changer for how you tell this story. The moment you shift from tech problem to public infrastructure problem, everything changes. It's no longer about a Wi-Fi router acting up. Suddenly, it's about the invisible foundation our entire modern world is built on. Now that is a story that everyone can connect with.
And just look at how far this invisible infrastructure reaches. We're talking about your home security system, the communications that first responders rely on, the navigation that keeps planes in the sky. Heck, even the timing signals that keep our power grid and financial markets from falling apart. When this stuff fails, the consequences aren't technical. They're incredibly real and incredibly human. So, if the stakes are that high, what's actually being done about it from the top? How are the regulators and the tech giants trying to manage this invisible chaos?
Well, it's really a 3-pronged approach. First, you've got enforcement. The FCC going after illegal gadgets like signal jammers. Then there's smarter spectrum management. Think of it like bringing in a really good air traffic controller for our radio signals to keep them from crashing into each other. And finally, there's cool new tech, like beamforming that actually directs your Wi-Fi signal right to your laptop instead of just spraying it all over the room.
Okay, so that's what the big players are doing. But how does that trickle down to the rest of us? Let's talk about what the public can actually do. These are the kinds of tips you can share directly with your audience to give them some real power. And these are so simple, but so effective. Just upgrading to newer Wi-Fi can make a world of difference. Actually reporting problems to the FCC helps them track down the source. A cheap little Faraday bag can stop thieves from hijacking your key fob signal. Keeping cellular data on gives you a vital backup for Wi-Fi calls. And making sure your address is registered for E911, that could literally save someone's life. These are the powerful takeaways your audience is looking for. Which brings us to a really critical point. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about your absolutely crucial role as storytellers in closing what we call the awareness gap. Because when you report on these stories, you're not just a tech journalist. You're performing a true public service. You're giving people the knowledge they need to protect themselves and their families in a world that's, well, it's getting more and more complicated. And this idea, the public awareness gap, is so important. It's that space between what the experts know and what the average person understands. Because if people don't know a problem exists, they can't protect themselves, they can't ask for better policies. Your reporting is the bridge across that gap. You connect the dots and you turn an invisible problem into one we can actually solve. So, let's give you some actual story ideas you can use. Instead of just dead battery, what if your car key isn't working because of signal interference? That's a story. Remind people that those signal jammers you can buy online aren't just toys. They're illegal because they can block a 911 call. That's a story. And get people to see that GPS isn't just for maps on your phone. It's the heartbeat of our financial system. That is a huge story. Okay, let's pull back and look at the big, final takeaway from this entire series. After all this, what's the one core idea that holds it all together? And it's this. The airwaves around us, they're not some infinite magical thing. They're a shared resource, just like a national park or a clean river. And right now, that resource is getting really crowded and really stressed. To protect it, we all have to be aware of it. We all have to care.
So we're going to leave you with that as a sort of call to action. The future of this vital invisible world depends on public awareness, and you are the people who build that awareness, one report, one story at a time. So the only question left is, what story will you tell?